So moving on, what should our government and the military be doing to end this hostage standoff? Moments ago, America's former ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton, joined me and went on the record. Ambassador Bolton, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Glad to be here.
You've been following the developments with the pirate takeover. I want to ask you what your thoughts are. Is this a situation that can be solved through negotiations?
Well, I think you should distinguish between the immediate circumstances of this captain who's being held by the terrorist and the bigger question. There's a lot we don't know about how the captain actually got in this situation. I think our immediate focus has to be to get him out safely. There are a variety of ways to do that that don't necessarily involve negotiation that we probably shouldn't talk about publicly. But I think first we solve this problem, then we have to address the larger question. And here I think we have a clear case for the use of force by the United States and anybody who will join with us against these pirates. I am very concerned, however, that both the administration and many of our friends in Europe have fallen into the trap of seeing this as a law enforcement question, which it most certainly is not. This is a case where the use of force is justified, and I think the prudential response.
You've hit on a number of things I wanted to ask you. How new is the pirate phenomenon in this region? Are these ships not equipped to take pirates on when they're under attack? And why hasn't the military gone in forcibly so far? They're surrounding the area, but why don't they just try to take the pirates out?
Well, this has been going on for quite some time, and it's something that the merchant marine ships themselves are really not capable of addressing. They're not trained for this. They're not equipped for it. It really is something for the navies of the world, and particularly the leading navy in the world, namely the United States, to handle. But I think even our Navy has looked at this as a law enforcement question. There was testimony recently that they're waiting for the approval of the Department of Justice to take action, and they've approached our European allies who unbelievably responded that they didn't want to take military action, or at least were reluctant to, because they were afraid that European human rights institutions would come after them for violating the human rights of the pirates. Now, that's very hard to believe, but it shows why I think we've got to be prepared to lead as the United States in this matter and hope that others come along with us.
Are there countries that we can rely on in a situation like this to come to the rescue of our innocent sailors? And how important is this channel? Are there not other routes we can take, or are we left to be at the pirates' mercy as we were in this case?
Well, this is a very heavily traveled sea route. Since the piracy problem has grown, they've tried to move the transit lanes further out to sea, but the pirates have grown more sophisticated as well. I mean, I think, honestly, this is a case where the French actually would come along with us. They apparently took action today involving one of their own hostages that turned out tragically for the hostage. But between France and Britain, I think if we had a coalition of the willing here, that we could inflict substantial damage on the pirates, and that would have a deterrent effect on other would-be pirates in that region.
It is somewhat disconcerting that you raise the human rights of the pirates by some countries who say they have to be concerned about that. I'm curious, then, in these situations, who can we rely on? And we have one of the best forces. You were right on the money, our own Navy. Why aren't we patrolling the area now that the problem is so significant and taking out these ships? And finally, is there any connection, do you see, in this situation to al-Qaeda, either funding or being directly involved?
Well, I think that the question of the pirates is something that our Navy could handle, and I think if we demonstrated leadership, other countries would come to our side, whether it's in patrolling or in actual military force against the pirate operations. Many people have said, well, pirates are different from terrorists. I don't think fundamentally the pirates are using force against innocent civilians. They may be doing it for economic reasons rather than ideological or religious reasons, but the consequences are the same. Some people have said we'll never end the problem of piracy until Somalia is once again a whole nation. I think if that's what we're waiting for, we're going to wait an awfully long time. I think that taking action here, while it cannot solve the problem totally, will have a profound impact when the people who are engaging in the piracy know they are at grave risk for their own lives if they continue that activity.
And next